Hi there. As you can see, I'm all kitted out with what I would take on a one-day, say, European trip to somewhere like Spain or France or anywhere basically. The world is your oyster. But it is a very damp and dismal day, so the only place we're going today is in my pub shed. I've just been in setting up the beer and putting the heat on so it's nice and warm. So if you'd like to join me in the pub, we'll pull a pint, and today we're going to talk about why I do these one-day European trips, what I take with me in kit and documentation, and 3 places you can go in Europe just for one day. I'll come up with some places I've been and some places I've not been and plan to go. So if you'd like to follow me into the pub shed, we'll get a pint pulled, sit down and have a good natter. Follow me. Come on in. As a lot of you will know, this is just the tap room with the toilet over there. I think we'll head off into the lounge. It's a lot more cosier and warm in there. So to any new viewers, welcome to my pub. It certainly feels warm and cosy in here. Get settled in. Not going to need this lot on. Plenty warm enough. We'll shut that door. Because we're in my pub, the first thing we're going to talk about is beer. Got something very special on today. You won't find much of this about hand-pulled Guinness. Now, due to the fact I've done quite a few trips to Ireland, I've been getting quite a liking for a drop of Guinness. So I thought I'd try it on my hand pump. Don't take this too seriously. All I've done, I bought about 20 cans of Guinness from the supermarket. I poured it into a polypin, put it in the fridge, connected it up to my hand pump, and it pulls lovely. So I think we'll try ourselves a pint, see what it's like. I'm afraid the only thing I haven't got is a Guinness glass. Major error that, but it will get rectified. This Tetley's glass will have to do. So we'll get on and we'll pull a pint of Guinness, see what it's like. It's looking nice, that. Might just have to let it settle a bit and top it up. But I've found while travelling about, you have a drink in an airport and probably Guinness is the most consistent. Doesn't really matter where you go or which country, Guinness always seems to be very consistent. It's probably a little bit lively as it's come out of a can. But that looks nice. That looks lovely. Very smooth. For a can of Guinness, that's nice. Anyway, gonna get sat down and then we'll talk about what we've come to talk about. Travel. Now, I have always enjoyed travelling. Whether by car, train or plane. I'm not bothered. I just like to be going somewhere. It's not always getting to that destination. It's a process of travelling there that I enjoy. Now, most of my friends and most of my family cannot understand this. They see airports and travel as just a form of hassle where you get delayed and it's tiring, and they just don't understand why I enjoy doing it. I have tried explaining, but I give up in the end. But I just enjoy the process of travelling, of actually going on different forms of transport and going somewhere. That is the bit I enjoy. I do have, if I could say, normal holidays with my wife. We go to various places together. But these 1 to 2 day solo trips, they're a little bit different, and I enjoy them so much. I like to cram in as much as you can in one, 24, 48 hour period to make use of every minute of it. And because I'm on my own, I'm not responsible for anybody. So I like the total freedom, the carefree attitude of, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I'm not upsetting anybody. I'm only responsible for myself. To me, it's like total freedom. And also, I quite often like to have a little bit to drink. I think travelling about and, I've got half an hour, I'll just nip in here, have a quick beer. It all adds to it. And it just feels, it's probably something you did when you were younger, so why can't you do it when you're older? I just think it's a great way to spend a 24, 48 hour period. And you feel so alive, you really do. Apart from the alcohol pumping through me veins, there's something else, and it might be adrenaline, I don't know, but it makes me feel so good. And when I return from one of these trips, it kind of keeps me on a high for several days. I feel on top of the world, and you feel so happy. It's difficult to explain, but that is basically why I do these 1 to 2 days short trips. I seem to have lost the head off my beer, but don't matter. We'll get this drunk in a bit and get another one. Now, what has made these trips possible is basically cheap airline travel. When you can fly to Ireland for £14, or some European country like, I don't know, Carcassonne or somewhere like that in France for £20, £30, well, you can't exactly refuse it at that price. I tend to search for my flights on Skyscanner. You can sort of put in where you're flying from, the UK, where you want to go, and it'll give you a good breakdown of the prices, and you can pick cheap flights out. I tend to book 90 days in advance. It just averages us out that I usually get a good price at that. Also, being a senior citizen does not have many advantages, but one, you get a senior rail card for rail travel. So quite often I might think, oh, I'll fly from Birmingham, I can nip down on the train, nip back, and I've got a saving with my rail card, get 30% off. And you can get those rail cards for different countries. I think Spain, I've got Tarjeta Dorado, which gives me discount rail travel in Spain. Now the main airlines I tend to use, sort of the economy flights, is Ryanair and EasyJet, and both of them will allow you to, sort of included in your ticket price is your hand luggage. This is my hand luggage, which I take with me. If I can remember, I'll have to write them down because I can't. So Ryanair is 40 by 25 by 20 centimetres, and EasyJet is a bit bigger, 45, 36 by 20. So that is the size of hand luggage you can take. It's not very big, but with sort of a bit of careful planning, it's quite surprising what you can get in there. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to finish this off, get another pint, and then we'll have a look what I take with me. We'll split it into two: documentation, paperwork, and call it me kit, me general luggage I take with me. So just get rid of this. We'll try another pint, then we'll look in the rucksack. Looks so nice. Right, we've talked about why I do these trips. Now we're going to look at what I actually take. Split it into two. We'll do sort of paperwork, documentation first. I've got to have a list. I can't remember all this lot. We'll look at my rucksack in a bit, but most of my paperwork is kept in a folder like this, so it's all together. So first of all, a bit of an itinerary. I tend to write this out as I'm planning the trip. So I might start off with the flights, the trains, the hotel. So that's my itinerary, and quite often I can quickly refer to it and think, oh yeah, I've got to get there for this flight or this connection. As I have got a wild camping background, I like a kit list. So that's a kit list for a Barcelona day trip. So yeah, I have a kit list and I can tick it all off. Very important, but quite often neglected, travel insurance. You've got to have that, especially if you're young. You don't know what's and old, but you don't know what could happen on a trip. You must have travel insurance. The basic travel insurance for a trip, one trip, you can get as cheap as anything. I take out an annual one, and it basically covers me for all my trips, and probably UK trips when you only go away for a weekend. But you've got to have that. You can't go to a foreign country and not be insured, because anything can happen. That's peace of mind, and you must have it. So your next thing is probably airport parking. Occasionally I either go on the train, I camp in my car, or I might just go and park my car at the airport. So you want airport parking, and it costs a fortune. The minimum for like a 24-hour period at Manchester is going to cost you probably over £50. One little thing I found, if you sort of sign up for Manchester Airport and its parking, and accept the notifications, etc. Once they know you're booking, every so often, to encourage you, they will send you discounts. So I never pay full price parking at Manchester, because as soon as I've done a trip, they send me on the notifications, book now and you'll get 10% off, or 15% off, or in some cases 20% off. So I never pay the full price for parking. Just sign up for whatever notifications are available, and I'm sure they'll send you an offer. I tried it for Birmingham and they never sent me anything. And then I went and booked overnight parking, and immediately they then sent me, have 10% off on your next booking. Obviously it's to encourage you to book. So the next thing would be, I ain't got a piece of paper with them on, it would be airline tickets. Anything like that, I put on my phone. It's so easy. That's an iPhone, add to your wallet, and your tickets are on there. So I tend to use that more and more, so you are relying on it. But as a backup, I'd print off the paper tickets as well. So I've always got it. If my phone packs in a flat battery, you lose it, you've got to have a backup. So I'd have me airline tickets as a paper backup. Once you land, you're most likely going to be going elsewhere, whether you're going to go into a city centre or you're going to go to a railway station. So that's like, this is left over from Barcelona. That's Aerobus route, airport to city centre, and that's Barcelona, Sants railway station to the airport. So I like to see what the connections are like, print off what train, where the bus is going to stop. It all makes it easy for when you're there. And then the other thing is maps. Yeah, I use my phone, but I take a paper map with me. I like paper maps. I was brought up with paper maps. But I've got to admit, recent Barcelona trip, I never looked at them. I just looked at my phone. Your phone does sort of take over. But yeah, I like to take a paper map. It's something, you get a bigger picture of the city. Quick swig. It's very nice, very smooth. It does lose its head a little bit quick, but it tastes better than a can of fizzy. I say fizzy. It's not as gassy. It comes out. It pulls lovely. Where are we? So you've landed. You've caught your shuttle bus into the city centre. Next is your accommodation. I find a single room, most European cities, you'll pick it up for 60 quid. If you want to go really cheap, you can stay in a hostel, probably get that for about 25-30 quid. So yeah, it's whatever you want really. But yeah, I tend to use booking.com, and we get a bit of discount the more you book off them. What we got here? More bits. Oh, do that one. Right, so you go to foreign countries. I like to have, I built it up over a while, that's probably 50 phrases in Spanish. I don't like going to a country and you can't ask for a beer in their language, or you can't say hello or thank you, or, you know, the basic greetings and that. So I'm alright with French, I can do that, but Spanish, Italian, German, I ain't a prayer without it written out. So I usually take a bit of paper with probably, I don't know, 50 simple phrases on. It's nice to be able to ask for a beer in their own language and say thank you afterwards. That, we'll look at this in a bit. That's just a copy of my passport. I like to back up whatever I've got with something else, so that is why that'll go in a different part of my luggage, and it's a copy of my passport just in case. Got a few more bits here. Right, what we got here? Obviously, essential is your passport. Make sure you've got it. We'll look where you keep that safely later on. Right, do this one first. So this is travel cards. So, like I say, being a senior, I get a bus pass, which is I'll get down to the station for free, and my rail card. You get 30% off UK rail travel. That's my Tarjeta Dorado, my Spanish rail card. I've also got National Express coach card there. Don't discount coaches. I've used the coach to get down to London, and it is dirt cheap. We're talking £7. It takes a while, but if you've got the time, it's a very cheap way of getting down to London, perhaps to catch a flight from Heathrow or something like that. I'm sort of connected with this for quite a lot of flights. You might be looking, you might think, oh, I'll go to Madrid, but your only flight back is to Heathrow. So then you've got to get across from Heathrow for me to St Pancras to get back to Sheffield. So I have an Oyster card. But what I found you could do, you can link your senior rail card to your Oyster card. It's a load of hassle. You have to go in an underground station, find an assistant and say, can you link my rail card to my Oyster card? She'll take you to one of the machines, tap in various bits, and then that Oyster card is linked to your rail card and you get 30% off. So if you were coming from Heathrow to St Pancras, I'm guessing now, it could be 15 quid, where you'll get a £5 off if you use your Oyster card, because you've linked it to your rail card. So it's just a useful little thing to know. I didn't know about it. The trouble is, that's a 1-year rail card. Next one I get, I'm going to make sure I get a 3-year rail card, link it, 3-year rail card, link it to my Oyster, and then you've cut out the hassle of doing it every year. So that's those. Yeah, I think we've covered them. And then the only other thing I wanted to look at under paperwork, we're paying. How do you pay for everything? Well, I take my debit card and my credit card with me, and I never use them, but they're there as a backup. And I take a load of euros and some sterling, some pounds and that, and I never use them. But you need them just in case. That seems to have taken over for everything. I have everything on there. It's the way to go. That is what the young ones do, so why not? Another drink. So on there goes my rail tickets, my airline tickets. If I buy anything, I use my phone. I use the maps on there for navigating across the city. So everything tends to go on my phone. But you can't depend on it, so you must have a backup. But yeah, I take all these in reserve, like cash, cards, everything. I never use them. But I think that covers most of the paperwork side of things. And like I say, I keep those in a folder. They go in back of my rucksack. and I've got everything at hand. So that sort of covers your documentation. I think a lot of it is common sense, but there is a lot. If you're just going for a day trip, it's surprising the amount of paperwork you have to take, but it's all part of it. So get rid of this, another pint, and then we'll have a look at the sort of the general clothing, kit, etc. Little bits and bobs I take with me, and a few little bits I can suggest worthwhile taking. So I'll see you when I've got another pint. I think I'll put my beer over there, and I might not knock it over. So we've looked at documentation. We're now going to look at my sort of general gear I would take with me on one of these trips. I'd mentioned the call it my rucksack, like flight bag. You can buy these easy on eBay. They ain't a fortune, and you know they will fit whatever aircraft you're going on. You know the size is right. What I like about this, it's got a big front compartment, so you put your bulky stuff in there, and then it's got a back compartment probably designed for a laptop. So what I tend to do, all my documentation goes in the back there. If you think that's nearest your body and it feels a bit more secure, I don't think these are super secure. You've got zips on them, but you know you're vulnerable. What I have done with my zips, I got these little carabiners, little plastic and metal carabiners. I can click it like that, and that's the zips fastened together. Same with this one here. I've got the same carabiner on. It's a bit like a token gesture. They're a bit fiddly to undo, but hopefully if somebody did see that, it's a bit of a deterrent and they'll go and rob somebody else rather than me. So that is the rucksack which I take with me. And like I say, it's not 100% secure. Even if you got the carabiners on, I've heard now people will just put a knife straight through it and they're into your rucksack. You can buy anti-slash rucksacks, but it's probably going a bit far. I think awareness counts for an awful lot. So I take that, but I also take what is known as a cross-body bag. If I get that off. So that goes across. In there I keep all my, you could say, important documentation. I keep my passport, my travel documents, my credit cards, debit card, any money I've got, anything that is super valuable, I keep in there, and that stays with me all the time. It never really leaves me, it's round me. I suppose it's described crossbody bag. Europeans wear them a lot, a bit like a man bag. I don't mind wearing it on holiday, but I certainly won't go up to see the lads from work at Barnsley with this slung round me and my money in there. Just don't feel comfortable, but it's okay for holiday. Took a little bit more in a bit for that, but that has got anything that's important in, and I just can't afford to lose. Look at a bit of the general stuff in my rucksack now. Now, I've been on a few trips and they don't always go to plan. I remember once going to Carcassonne. I got caught up in some riots in Paris, and then when I got to Carcassonne there was a terrorist attack and they shut the airport and I was stranded and I was stuck there for I think I had another couple of nights, and from there I learned to take some spare underwear, socks, stuff like that. The chances of them wearing them on a one-day trip is slim, but you never know. And what I actually did, I vacuum packed them. There's probably 2 pairs of pants, 2 pairs of socks in there. They vacuum packed, so minimal size. So they can go in the bottom of the rucksack. We all have to take our liquids. I keep them to the minimum, toothpaste and a few other bits. They'd be on top, but I'm putting them in now. Also, there's my toothbrush, a little bit of soap, and although it's probably described as a face cloth, I treat that as my towel. And in the morning, if I get to the airport early, different trips, I can go and have a wash in the airport. And I've got everything I need to have a wash, do my teeth, and that acts as a little towel. I don't know if you've ever tried drying your face under one of them blowers. It ain't easy. So that goes in. Sunglasses, we always have sunny weather, well, a lot of the time. Right, this is an umbrella, just in a plastic bag. Doesn't cost much. I think that were 12 quid. You can get better ones. But after a recent trip, this time was Seville in southern Spain, where it's usually red hot, it poured it down. I have never seen rain like it. And I think I had to get to the airport. It was going to take me half an hour, and I had to walk in the torrential rain, and I got soaked to the skin. That would have saved me, and at the time I hadn't got it. So I learnt from that an umbrella. As well as the rain, I dare say in summer if it's red hot, it might even act as a bit of a sun shield as well. And I got so wet, I needed me spare underwear as well, because I was soaked to the skin. I've got my Rab jacket up there, which I usually put on in this country, but once you get to the airport it is boiling hot. So it goes in this stuff sack. It'll squash into here. I'm after getting a smaller jacket. I've seen a mountain equipment one and they haven't got my size in it. So I'm waiting for that to come up, but it would make it a bit smaller. So that goes in the stuff sack, that goes into my rucksack. Down jackets are expensive and I don't like it in the rear of my rucksack, but it has to go there. There's no room for it. So I do have thoughts of either stitching this into the rear of the rucksack and make it like a valuables bag for my coat, but fastened into the inside of the rucksack, something like that. Something I'm working on. So, bit of a electronic stuff now. That's my selfie stick and a bit of camera, tripods, etc. I'm putting those in the rear. Bit safer. I usually, if I am filming, I will have my GoPro with me, so that goes in the back of the rucksack as well. Another essential item, we live via a mobile phone nowadays. We put everything on it and we rely on it. So you need a battery pack. That's a reasonable size. It'll charge my phone up about 3 times. You know, we use it for camera batteries, etc. Just mini USB plug and a Continental adapter. Again, mainly for charging if you're stopping over in a hotel room. So what else have we got? Right, part of getting older is you have to take tablets. So in here I have got all the medication I need. But what I do, I take probably about a week's worth. You just don't know with these trips when you're actually going to get back, and it's better to have too much medication. You can bring it back with you. So the medication goes in, but I might add as well, I duplicate it and put another lot of medication in this crossbody bag, so it's with me all the time. I've never had any problems, but you don't want to lose your tablets and be trying to replace them. It would possibly be quite difficult, that. What else have we got? Not a major issue this, but if you think we have so many credit cards, different cards, all have got the PIN numbers on. I can't remember them all. So that is actually, it's got about 100 telephone numbers on that. And it's what I had at work. We had an internal phone system and they were 4-digit numbers. So all those people on there, it's probably 100. I did know them, or I know them, and I recognise the names. What I'm mixing there is some unusual names, and they've got my 4-digit credit card number, various other numbers, contact numbers. So if somebody found that, it don't mean a thing, but to me, it's got all the valuable numbers I need. So that would probably go in me crossbody bag, that. Let's have a look here what else we've got. Bit more on security. I'll just zip that lot up. So that's got majority of me gear in. I put my clips on. Now quite often when I'm on a train or something like that and I've had a few drinks, I can fall asleep. And I don't like sitting there with my rucksack on a seat and I fall asleep. I feel vulnerable, as if somebody could just walk off with my bag. So I made this. It's nothing really. It's just a piece of webbing, and I can find a suitable. I put that round there, and then that I can thread through my belt. It's got a little carabiner on, and while I'm sat like that, I've fallen asleep. That bag is fastened to me. And also in a restaurant, something like that, where you put your bag on the floor. So if some opportunist thief is going to pinch my bag, I'm attached to it. The only little thing I do worry about, I have a feeling one day I might be asleep on a train and I'm going to be dragged out the door by somebody trying to pinch me bag. But hopefully it's never happened, but it's nice to be secure. I've heard of people putting the bag on the floor in a restaurant and thieves will come in, one will accidentally kick it across to somebody else and somebody else will walk off with it. So you are vulnerable. So you've just got to be aware and take some necessary precautions. Make it difficult for a thief to try and get away with your stuff. So that's nothing really, but it goes with me. I'll drop it there. And another little thing I have, if I'm walking through a busy place like a market or, I don't know, you just feel a bit vulnerable. Mobile phone is always in that front pocket there. Why people walk, mostly women, why they walk around with the mobile phone in the back pocket, I don't know. But I put my mobile phone in there, and if I were feeling it were like an underground and it were packed solid, I've got a safety pin there. And I clip the safety pin through the top of my jeans there. And then I just put that there. That pocket is sort of sealed and nobody is easily going to get in there. So it's all to do with security. We depend on the phone, so you might as well make it safe. I've never had any problems, but there's nothing wrong with going over the top. So I think that covers everything I put in my bag. I travel in basically what I've got here. Comfortable shoes. I always wear jeans. I'm of a jeans generation. A jumper t-shirt, my rab coat, or a new one I'm going to get. So if it's down, you can squash it up and it hardly takes any room up in your coat, in your rucksack. And then another little thing, quite often on these trips, they take to the limit in the way that I catch the first flight I can, but I quite often catch the last flight back. Sometimes, well, seems to be quite a few times, you land at Heathrow, something like that. And then you've got to get across London nearly on the last train. So if anything's late, it's going to fall apart and you're going to get stranded. So rather than sleep in the airport, what I did, round St Pancras, I found about 3 hostels. Clink 261, one near Russell Square, and another one. I've only got them on a bit of map, and they're near St Pancras. So if it does all go wrong, and I've missed my last train home, I know I can, I've got somewhere to get a bed at night, rather than sleep on the streets. It's not too much better probably than sleeping on the streets, but for 20, say 6 quid, you can get a bunk in a hostel, so at least you have got somewhere to sleep at night, and then catch the train up back to Sheffield in the morning. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, the only other thing, earphones, earphones. If I'm on the plane, I like to listen to a bit of music, get that volume turned full up, a few drinks, I feel utterly fantastic. And I tend to listen to a bit of music on the plane, keeps me occupied. So I always take my Bluetooth earphones with me, got all my music on there, so I'm fully entertained on one of these flights out. So I think that covers everything I would take with me on one of these European trips. So all we've got to do now is talk about some places to go to. So I'll tidy all this lot up and I'll come back to you, and I'll tell you a few places I've been, a few places I'm planning to go to or would like to go to. See you in a little bit. Everything packed away in my rucksack, ready for the next trip. We'll have a chat now about some of the places I've been, some places I plan to go. I think when I first started planning these trips, Ireland was a good place to go, and still is. I'm going to base myself at Manchester because that's where I fly from most of the time, but obviously it will be your local airport. And you've got to think, my thoughts are, as I've mentioned so many times, it's just the travel element. I'm not too bothered what's there at the other end, it's the fun of the travel. So like I say, Manchester to either Dublin or Belfast, 15 quid. And just to do that flight and to sit and to look out the window at the fantastic views you get, it were worth it for £15. And you could vary it a bit. You could probably catch a train to Birmingham, say, have a couple of drinks there, fly over to Belfast perhaps, couple of drinks there, back to Manchester. So it is like just travelling, and there's a bar at all these places, so it just went together so well. So I've done Belfast a couple of times. Dublin, I'm going in a month's time, although I'm going with the wife. And then Dunkirk. That was, there ain't so many flights, so that was a stopover that. Not too oh yeah, it was quite expensive, yes. And on the far side there's Limerick and other places. I intend trying those at some point because Ireland is so accessible such lovely places and lovely pubs. Later on, you might want to venture farther afield. There's masses of places. I can't go through that many. Part of the fun is searching for the places on which I, like I say, use on Skyscanner. But I did Madrid in one day. It was a long day. That's where my car camper, my micro car camper, comes in, because I can park near the airport. But if you weren't doing that, you'll just have to get there early. But I think Madrid, I did it in the day. It was like 6:30 flight out, probably about 8-9 o'clock flight back at night. So it's a long day. I got about 6 hours in Madrid, and straight away airport into Madrid Atocha station. What a beautiful city. Just look at that view. That was from a previous one from a hotel, but just look at the view looking down on the station. The station itself is worth a look round. But yeah, so you can do Madrid in one day. Recently did Barcelona in one day. You're talking 24 hour non-stop day here. But that's what it's about. That's what I like. So there is many places in Spain that you can do in one day, and other places. You've just got to search them out. But I have got a few other trips planned. A couple of places in Ireland, and then others that you can definitely do in a day. Milan, Ryanair have several flights there. You can fly in at, I think it's one airport, I can't remember the name, and probably fly out from Bergamo, the other airport. So you can do that in a day. Copenhagen, plenty of flights there, pre-accessible, short shuttling. I've got that one planned again with my wife. Might do that next December near Christmas time. Should be nice in Copenhagen. Berlin. I did once have that planned. Believe it or not, I planned it. I bought all the tickets and everything, and COVID hit, and I didn't go. I should have gone, but it was early days and I didn't go. So I still have Berlin to do, but that is easy to do in one day, and loads to look at, I would think, around the city centre. So like I say, pick a lot of European cities and you'll do a one-day trip there. Part of the fun is planning your trips and planning your times and your transport links and all that side to it. But yep, I love the planning, and then the trip is the icing on the cake. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my basically my thoughts why I do these trips and the kit I take, and we've just touched on a few places to go. If you've any ideas of gear and kit or places you'd recommend for a one-day trip, put it in the comments and we can all share it. I've a few trips planned this coming year, some with my wife and some are the solo one-day trips I like to do myself, and mix it with some wild camping. It's a difficult balance really, but yeah, hopefully get a few wild camps in as well. I don't think I'll film many of the trips because it does monopolise a lot of the time, and I don't know how interested people are of me wandering around foreign cities drinking beer. But I might put them on the shorts. There's this new shorts thing. I might put some of my 1 minute trip like visit on something like that. We'll have to see. Now if you're new, it might be a first visit to my pub. I hope you've enjoyed it. It was my lockdown project. I really enjoyed building it, as I like building anything. It was a great project, and I think I can say it certainly kept me sane through lockdown. I actually loved the time I got to build this place and kept extending it, and now we use it. We do use it occasionally, not so much as we did, but it makes a great film studio, and I can come up here, talk to you all out there, and just chat about anything, and it does feel like we are actually having a drink together. It feels fantastic, it does, chatting to you from the pub. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It was nice to chat about my thoughts on one-day European trips. I'm hoping to be out while camping on the next one, although my Achilles tendon isn't quite right and it's quite painful with my walking boots on. So I had thoughts of going up on Kinder Scout, but I think I might be doing a woodland camp nearer to home, then I don't have to walk so far. So if I could thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one soon. Bye then.